Ko. To the Office of Foreign Affairs, the meeting of the Board of Trustees. Today is Thursday, December 4th, 2025. Time now is 10:01 a.m. Board Secretary, please take a roll call.
Trustee Ahuna.
Eo.
Trustee Akaka. I don't see Trustee Akina. Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria.
Eo.
Trustee Lindsay.
Present.
I don't see Trustee Souza. Trustee Waihe'e.
Present.
And Chair Kahele.
Present.
You have 7 trustees present. You have quorum.
Okay, this meeting can be viewed via live stream on OHA's website at www.oha.org/livestream and also on Olelo TV channel 49. For those joining us on Zoom to testify or listen, please note that we're using a webinar platform rather than the standard Zoom meeting format. As an attendee, you will be able to watch and listen to the proceedings. If you wish to testify on a specific agenda item, please follow these steps. 1, raise your hand to indicate that you'd like to speak. 2, will change your status from attendee to panelist when it is your turn. This may take a few seconds, so we appreciate your patience. As a panelist, you will have the option to turn on your camera and unmute yourself to provide testimony. And once you have finished testifying, please mute yourself and you'll be returned to attendee status. At this time, the chair would like to now recognize and introduce Keishan Kikina, the Chief Operations Officer, to introduce any administration in attendance. Welcome, Keishan.
Aloha kakayaka kako, mahalo nui, Chair and Trustees. This morning, our administration team consists of Interim Administrator, Chief Executive Officer Summer Silva, our General Counsel Everett Ota, our Interim Director of Land Assets Lori Walker, our Director of Communication Bill Brennan, our Operations Manager Royce Campbell, and our Senior IT Systems Engineer and Administrator Kevin Chalk. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you, Keishan, and let the record also reflect that Trustee Souza has now joined us as well. Here, representing the Board of Trustees, we have our Board Secretary Lehua Itokazu. We have our Interim Chief of Staff Alina Ayong, also our Board Counsel Kapono Kiakona, as well as other trustees, aides, and secretaries and supporting staff that are with us today. So welcome everyone, and hope everyone had a great holidays over the past weekend. Our first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Do we have anyone signed up to speak on this item? This would be the approval of minutes for October 10th, 2024, October 17th, 2024, April 17th, 2025, October 2nd, 2025, and November 6th, 2025. Can I get unanimous consent to take these all en block?
So move.
Okay. Yes. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up to testify on the approval of said minutes?
There's no one signed up to speak on this item.
Okay, trustees, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka. Aye. Mahalo. Trustee Akina's not here. Trustee Alapa. Yes. Trustee Galuteria.
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay. Aye. Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e.
Yes.
And Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 8 yes votes.
Okay, our next item is the status of OHA activities. And before we recognize our Chief Operations Officer to give us an update on those activities, Lehua, do we have anyone sign up to speak on this item, status of OHA activities?
There is no one signed up for this item.
Okay, Chair now recognizes Keishan Kikina, the Chief Operations Officer of the Office of Foreign Affairs, for a administration update.
Mahalo, Trustees. This morning, we really only have 3 concise updates for you. Some of our members of our administration team have flown to Maui to distribute 713 checks for our Kanaho program. So people are receiving those checks in real time, and I want to say that the response has been extremely appreciative. Also, for our EOLA program, you may have seen in the situational report last night that we have $898,000 that's been dispersed. I'm happy to also report that we have $927,350 that has been approved for disbursement at this time. This has been a heavy lift by both the Hawaiian Council and the Office of Hawaiian Affairs team, and it is on its route to success. So today we're going to be having discussions to create a comprehensive and cohesive communications plan throughout the holiday season to ensure that we keep that momentum. Mahalo.
Any questions for Keishan? I do have a question for the Iola, but anyone have any questions? Yeah, Chair Emerita?
So I've been following your weekly memos, and thank you for that. I was just wondering, how long do we keep this up? And, you know, I thought initially we're giving out $350 for the SNAP, and we're giving out $1,250 for the people that have lost their jobs, federal workers. But does it continue? I mean, is it a one-time distribution, or?
Mahalo Nui for your question. So the actual amounts are $350 for the SNAP and $1,200 for the federal workers.
Okay.
And yes, it's going to continue. The reports will continue until the money is expended. However, to your earlier points, there's only one distribution.
Okay.
Yeah, per an individual.
Yeah, can I follow up on that then?
Yeah, please do.
So, and again, thank you for the weekly sit rep that the administration puts out. Very, very, very helpful.
Yeah.
And looking at the essential needs support, there's 1,415 applicants. Would that be total applicants received versus those that have been approved and have received their cards? Do you have an idea of how much, or is that the number that has received?
Mahalo, Chair. So there's 415 applications for the SNAP benefits. There's 362 applications for the essential needs side. And the amount that has been approved are 634 for the federal worker applications and 392 for the SNAP applications.
Okay, yeah, that checks. Okay, so for the federal worker, we planned, or this board approved 1,000 potential applicants, so we're at 634 that has received. So there's still several hundred more, little over 300 more that can still take advantage of this income bridge support by the
Yes.
Office of Foreign Affairs.
Mahalo for the question. So in your original approval, we did agree upon an 80-20 allocation. And when you look at the amount of applications that we have received for the federal workers, we are very close to that. Yeah, so we're still soliciting applications. However, that original allocation may need to be changed in the future, in the near future.
And then are we even coming close to the estimated 15,000 potential $350 gift card disbursements?
No, not right now.
Is there a reason for that, or has the administration identified?
We've been working with Hawaiian Council to identify where we can be most successful in the SNAP area. And we did see a surge after community engagement on the Hawaiian Council side, so we will look to continue those efforts. However, it's hard to say. One barrier that we have been able to identify is that it does require additional information for the SNAP side, which has been the hardest thing to procure, is accurate and correct documentation.
So I guess, it's a fair question that Chair Emerita has, is how long do we think the program is going to continue? Or do we envision a, stop point after, let's say the holidays? When we approved this, the government was still shut down. Federal employees had not received their back pay. There was uncertainty with the SNAP federal funding coming to the state. And so is there a point where we will call it on this program, and whatever funds are still remaining, we will return back to the OHA surplus fund, or is there a thought from the administration?
Yes, so let me also, if we can go back to your first question about why the SNAP program applicant pool has been less robust. We've figured out that we tried to target the highest need community in that category. These are people who very low income, kupuna age, and have no dependents, which means that they are folks who have the least amount of access to wraparound services. They probably don't access services as readily as other groups. And so we are working closely with Hawaiian Council and DHS to see if there is another way to make their ability to access these resources even easier. In other words, that we can do something more proactive to identify these populations and give them the money that they are eligible for, as opposed to having them have to seek us out to meet, our requirements. It speaks to the spirit of the intention that was originally contemplated by this program, and it also reminds us of how under-resourced and, under capacity some of our populations are, and our need to be more innovative and more thoughtful about how we ensure that our well-meaning funding and services actually reach the populations that we're targeting. So we are working closely with Hawaiian Council to come up with a plan that allows us to have more access to more information that DHS currently possesses, and that might require some information sharing agreements that allow for, flow of information more readily. We are also constantly, assessing how long and the kind of momentum to put behind communicating the availability of these funds and nuancing the messaging. So that is an ongoing process. But our intention is to use the funds that this board determined was adequate, and that it was informed by data that there are 15,000 people in our community who are eligible to receive these funds. And I think if we successfully identify them, if we successfully build Pilina with them, that's 15,000 more beneficiaries who have a relationship with OHA and who have a positive experience and engagement with OHA. And that transcends this program. So we're committed to manifesting that.
For the income bridge support, which would be, seems like easier, right? There's less, more stringent requirements. We've awarded 634 applicants who successfully received $1,200 income bridge support checks. We have 1,362 applicants, so that's 728 that potentially are still eligible or going through the process, which would obviously allow us to hit that 1,000 that we had estimated pretty quickly. So are they in the queue, I guess?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, all right.
And, that reinforces that narrative that these are federal workers, high capacity, have jobs, know how to access resources. They are availing themselves of our program because we have been, clear, we're on websites, we make it easy. But again, their ability to access means that, they're availing themselves more readily of these funds than people who don't have those kinds of services or capacity or resources.
Okay. And then I guess my last highlight before going to, I think it's Trustee Alapa, is 3,986 new individuals added to the Hawaiian Registry program because of this. So fantastic job in eliminating the backlog, and for the OHA staff that stepped up to get trained and dedicated their time and effort to assisting the BSA team that was overwhelmed for a few days. Thank you to everyone for doing that. So look forward to it saying 4,000.
Yes, definitely. Mahalo nui, and mahalo nui to our hardworking staff.
Yeah. Okay, Trustee Lapa.
Oh, I had questions for Keishan.
Yeah.
Aloha. I was on Molokai on the day that the HC guys were there to help distribute or receive potential applicants. Do you know the status for the 2 days that they were there? Because I was there the first day, and there was a trickle of people that came in. I don't know if a lot of people knew about them being there, but I was a little bit concerned because there's hardly anybody that showed up that first day. So overall, do you know what the status is for the 2 day that the HC people were there?
Yes, over the 2 days we had 34 walk-ins. So the turnout was actually very strong in Molokai and also in Hilo. Those are the two strongest communities. Mahalo.
Yeah, and on that note for Hilo, I don't know if everyone saw, but on Thanksgiving, OHA was on the front page of the Hawaii Tribune Herald, and one of our beneficiaries, Harold James Segovia, was holding up his 2 KTA $175 gift cards on the front page. I can't think of a better day to highlight our program and our efforts in the Hilo Tribune Herald. So, Trustee Kina?
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate that, and my apologies for stepping in late this morning.
No, not at all.
Great news we're hearing today, and may I address my comment to Interim Pouhana?
Sure.
Thank you very much for all the hard work you and the team have done, and I commend both the increase in numbers in our Hawaiian registry, as well as the distribution of funding that was needed at an emergency time. We want integrity on both ends, so I'm glad to hear there's integrity in people getting something that they need and the right people getting it. But of course, and you share this view, we want integrity in our distribution. Are we going to have a report or an audit to show that, first of all, the disbursements went to where they should go, and secondly, some of the complexities, such as the fact that some of our recipients would have been beneficiaries of multiple assistance from governments, state, county, federal, and that was factored into the amounts that they got. Will we be getting some kind of report that lets us know the answer to both of those questions?
So, yes, we're going to have a comprehensive report. The contract, underlying contract agreement between OHA and Hawaiian Council requires the satisfaction of reporting. I believe that we are aiming to happen in 3 weeks. 8 weeks, sorry, 8 weeks. In 8 weeks, 8 weeks after completion is their requirement to provide us with the full data about how the money was expended. But in the interim, we are building a database here at OHA's side to receive, data points about the individuals receiving the funds, all of the criteria that has been met. HRP requirements are precursor to even qualifying for this particular program, so that's already been vetted. But yes, I mean, our intention is to make sure that there's integrity throughout the process, and if we have specific requests, I am happy to communicate that to Hawaiian Council. They have been really good partners, really responsive partners, and if there is a desire to have a reporting that potentially accelerate some of these data points, I am happy to inquire. It's not required by the contract. We are adhering to the contract terms, but we can accelerate, and I'm sure in the spirit of cooperation and transparency that they have been partners, willing to do that.
Thank you very much. It's
Sure.
good to hear, and I look forward to that report as well as the opportunity to input into it additional questions that we may have. Mahalo.
Problem. Thank you.
Chair Merrill?
Was one of the terms of the contract that we receive a list of the recipients of the monies?
I don't, if Ev is Ev, do you have that information? Yeah, may I invite Everett to
There
the
is.
table?
The
Yeah.
answer is yes.
Yeah.
There is a list for every single individual
That's what I
who has
thought.
received either or. There's a list, and it grows as Hawaiian Council makes the awards, and at some scheduled interview that they provide that to OHA. But I
Well, the
have seen
first-
it with my own eyes, so it does exist.
The first few weeks, like 2-3 weeks, they did send us the list, as your report indicated. But then I saw the list stop coming.
So,
I just-
yeah, we want it to be, confidentiality. We heard that from this table. We've heard it from the community. We are treating that with, high regard. And so there are we've identified, what is necessary in our department to have that information, have access to that information. And so the POCs on our side are handling that with the kind of integrity that you want to handle that with. But we do have access to that information at any point in time. It is updated regularly, and if there is a need for, disseminating it more broadly than where it's currently sitting, which is in a very small circle, to be
Well, I
as-
don't think we want to know who
Yeah.
got it, but totaling the amount distributed versus what we passed over to Hawaiian Council to distribute is a good balance for us to know that it's balancing. That's all I'm talking about.
Got it, got it.
Do you have a question?
I had a follow-up
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that.
go ahead, Chair.
I just want to share that I was present at the Kanaho giveaway of the checks this week at Maui, and I cannot tell you folks how grateful our people are that lost their homes, and you know they've really I cannot express their expressions, but it was very heartwarming to see our staff there and people just, oh, thank you, coming in so handy. You know, some for groceries, some for bills, and some for Christmas. You know, I mean, it was really heartwarming, and I can relate the problems that we're having with documents for CNHA distribution, because that has happened consistently with the Kanaho grants. It's just a thing, you know, that we have a hard time getting all the documents in. Now, we had a hard time having our people know about this distribution of checks, because a lot of our people still did not know. Yesterday, somebody came in and when we mentioned that, oh, we need to get out to more people, and the person said, oh, I help you. This kid, I want to call him kid because he's in his young 20s, but he sat down and he called 20 beneficiaries that did not know about the check sitting down in our office. And they were so grateful. So I was just thinking if there was some other way that we could get to them besides our Kavaiola, and because there's such a short time. We're supposed to be giving it out by this Friday, and we did give out, I think, close to 500. We have 700 something checks, but 200 something checks to give out is a lot of checks, you know?
Yeah, well, thank you for mentioning it at this meeting, which is televised statewide these days and on repeat. We also have a strong communications team. I think the message is heard loud and clear that we can help to amplify the notice in the next few days or hours even. And I will say, thank you for acknowledging the hardship that faces our beneficiaries in terms of meeting the documentation requirements, and at the same time, OHA's responsibility of having sufficient documentation to satisfy audits and compliance reports, and the desire of this board to want to make sure that there is integrity on both ends. So, that's a reality that we're trying to balance, and when, more time and more patience and even innovation is needed to accomplish all those things, please let this conversation inform, that consideration. It's a heavy lift on all ends. So mahalo. Thank you. Thank you.
Trustee Aquino.
Thank you, Chair. Have we been able to determine whether recipients of the emergency funds will incur any tax liabilities?
There's some are unavoidable. I think when the governor makes emergency declarations, some of those tax liabilities get lifted. In this part, the most recent instance with the federal shutdown, that kind of executive order was not issued, so there are tax implications for the recipients of the federal relief program. It's my understanding that the Maui fire situation did have an accompanied executive order, both at the state and the federal level, and so it would track that those recipients are free of, or at least have a mitigated tax liability associated with whatever funding they're getting. I am also opining based just on what I understood was the situation at the time of the fire, but that might have changed over time. Is that still the case? Yes, okay.
Maybe the governor needs to be reminded about the federal problem.
Got right. Thank you.
Mahalo.
Mahalo.
You're welcome. Just brief last question. Do we think we need, because, there's been some maybe stability restored back to the SNAP and also Native Hawaiian federal civil service employees that were previously either furloughed. So maybe that I guess, urgency for the support maybe has waned a little bit as people have gone on with their lives. Do we need to do, but we're still committed to expending the funds. Do we need to, or should we work with the council on a PR campaign, whether it's radio or something on mainstream media that gets the word out to people so it's not forgotten? Have you guys?
Yes,
Great
mahalo for the
interview, by
question.
the way, on Hawaii News Now. Man.
Oh, mahalo nui. Yeah. Yes, so we are looking to start a discussion today to have a cohesive communications effort on both sides to get the greatest ROI that we can out of what our resources have.
Okay, great. Then on that note, if for our beneficiaries that are watching this on YouTube or watching this on Olelo, we have resources to support you if you fall into one of those two categories as a SNAP recipient or a federal civil service employee. And so please, whether it's you or a family member, you can call the Hawaiian Council's dedicated phone number line at 808-596-8155, or you can email the Hawaiian Council, and they have staff dedicated to this at relief@hawaiiancouncil.org. So please reach out to them. Okay, thank you for that update.
Question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Trustee Akaka.
Mahalo. Regarding the Maui fire distributions, is it where the reach outs, whether it by email or phone call, has been completed? All the reach out is POW, or are you doing that up until Friday?
Sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
For the amounts that need to be distributed by this Friday for Maui, whether by phone call or by email, has that been completed? And the reason I ask is because a reach out was done to me yesterday in terms of one person received a check, and they're wondering, or reach out regarding a check of the amount as being a survivor, and wondering if it was truly the case, and if so, if their sister would be eligible as they were a recipient as a fire survivor previously. So is it where you folks have made all the calls or the reach outs via email, or is that still being done?
Yeah, so all of the outreach efforts the initial outreach efforts have been done and they continue to happen. The checks that did go to Maui they're already associated to an individual.
Okay. So what happens if you have those that are reaching out saying that they weren't reached out to, or are they eligible to receive a check again?
Yeah, we have our team working to field those inquiries, and they are handling them appropriately.
So
Mahalo.
trustee, if they received a rental or a loss of home check in the earlier days, they automatically qualify for this check this time, and a check was cut out for their name, in their names. So they should call the Maui office and ask if there's a check for them waiting there. I think that would be the fastest and easiest. Otherwise, there's no going back to new people that might be calling.
And then, Trustee Akako, I just want to add, if you do know of somebody that you need to refer to us, we're happy to receive that as well. So please make sure to send that over to us.
Mahalo.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to new business. Our first item under new business is the Committee on Investment and Land Management. Lehua, do we have anyone sign up to speak on these items?
There's no one signed up to speak on these items.
Okay, Chair will now recognize the Chair of the ILM Committee, Chair Souza.
Mahalo, Chair Kahele. Your Committee on Investment and Land Management, having met on November 12th, 2025, and after full and free discussion, recommends approval of the following 3 action items to the Board of Trustees. First, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to adopt action item ILM 25-12, approve the OHA investment policy for legacy lands.
Okay, Trustees, do we have any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Aye.
Thank you. Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa, Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
Mr. Chair, next I'd like to move to approve action item ILM 25-13 to approve the OHA management policy for legacy lands.
Trustees discussion, ILM 2513. Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria.
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
All right, Mr. Chair, finally, I'd like to move to approve action item ILM 25-14 to approve the OHA management policy for investment lands.
Trustees discussion on ILM 2514, final reading. Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Ahuna. Trustee Akaka.
Aye.
Trustee Akina. Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria. Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
Okay, well, before moving on, congratulations to the Chair Souza and your leadership on the ILM committee. We now have a OHA Board of Trustees adopted real estate strategic plan and 3 plans that dictate our new policies for investment and our development lands and our legacy lands. And these are charges given to us by the state's auditor in a previous audit, and so I commend you for getting that work done and getting it done in the 2025 calendar year. So mahalo for your work on the ILM committee. Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to action item 2516. This would be item B on our new business. This would be the acceptance of the 2024 performance evaluation of the OHA Pouhana Administrator Stacy K. Ferreira. Lehua, do we have anyone sign up to speak on action item BOT 2516?
Yes, our first speaker is Jermaine Myers.
Okay. Good morning, Jermaine.
Good morning.
Aloha.
Welcome. You're recognized.
Thank you. Aloha, Honorable Trustees. My name is Jermaine Myers, and I am an OHA beneficiary under the Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment, and I'm also a Nanakuli Hawaiian Homestead lessee. I am testifying to share data, views, and arguments concerning Board Agenda Item 25-16, acceptance of the 2024 performance evaluation of OHA's Pouhana Stacy Ferreira. For the record, no evaluation materials were provided in today's board packet, even though this is an open meeting action item requiring transparency for beneficiaries to meaningfully participate. Therefore, I am formally submitting a Uniform Information Practice Act, UIPA, request for number 1, each trustee's individual evaluation of Pouhana Ferreira. I understand all 8 trustees completed an evaluation. Number 2, the compiled summary report of one, if one exists. Number 3, any supporting or supplemental documents used in the preparation of the 2024 performance evaluation, including self-assessments, staff input, consultant reports, or internal memorandum. Beneficiaries are only able to provide informed testimony on an action item if the public has access to the documents being acted upon. I do recall when Pouhana Ferreira presented her self-assessment in open session to the full board, trustees expressed appreciation for achievements during her first year, most notably successfully returning OHA staff from work from home status back to the Nalama Kukui offices, taking the necessary steps to reconvene the salary commission, which allowed OHA trustees to receive long overdue salary adjustments. In addition, she shared many other accomplishments that all board members praised her and expressed gratitude. These reflect accomplishments that should be acknowledged. However, without access to the full evaluation and supporting materials, beneficiaries cannot adequately assess whether the evaluation justifies acceptance by the board at this time. Mahalo for the opportunity to provide testimony. Ke akua pu. God bless all of you.
Thank you, Jermaine. Thanks for joining us. Lehua, anyone else sign up to speak on 2516?
I do have one more person online. They did not raise their hand, but I can ask. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, the next speaker is Tiger Lee.
Who? Who's that? Tiger Lee. Okay. If Tiger Lee's on, you can.
Okay, Tiger, you can unmute and speak.
Aloha, can you hear us? Hold on one second. We're just bringing you live. Okay. Can you hear us now, Tiger?
Good morning, Honor. This, I submit my written testimony to you. My name is Tiger Lee. I have been working for OHA for more than 10 years. I'm still proud to be part of OHA in my working history, as I'm inspired by OHA's mission and vision. I'm inspired for OHA to fight for the betterment of the beneficiaries. I can share with you in my current workplace, I still do a little of the week for all my staff to promote Hawaiian language and culture. I'm here today is to document serious procedure violation, abuse of authority, and harmful workplace conditions that occurred under former CEO Stacy Ferreira, which is culminated in my wrongful termination. My termination was executed without due process, without investigation, without progressive discipline, and without any chance for me to respond, all of which directly violate the OHA employee handbook and the state law. Under former CEO, OHA became a toxic and heavily micromanaged environment, characterized by fear, instability, and targeting the employee without justification. This environment enabled arbitrary and unjust employment action, including myself. The manner of my determination was inhuman, cruel, and uncivilized. I remember Stacy passed the termination to me and said, "This is the final decision. I don't have time to listen to your explanation." And she left. Then the HR director escorted me to pack my stuff and leave OHA immediately. You're gonna know that I have been working for OHA more than 10 years. I have been the manager of the year, serving for every single of the trustees on the table, except the chair. It's shocking. It's inhuman. This sudden and unjust separation caused significant financial hardship for me and my family. My son was facing to choose college in his senior year, and we have to choose the most affordable ones, not the one he likes to be. My wife has been ill for many years, no income. I experienced extreme mental and emotional stress resulting from this sudden and wrongful action from the former CEO. I was wrongfully accused regarding the Proof Point incident, which is the key incident. He fired me and my staff, Dave Kuzuki. To put it short, we have a late payment for Proof Point. So the Proof Point was done on April 9th, 5 p.m. And it was fully restored on April 10th, 7 a.m. Okay? Remember now, this is all off hours. This is zero negative impact or undelivered emails happened because we recovered everything in the second day. And there's only 2 emails during that time. If you have time, I can explain how Proof Point works. And we have a plan B, plan C to make sure the email going through.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
I have, well, I do not have enough time. You can read my written testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiger. And we are in receipt of your written testimony, and we will make sure, I think that has been distributed to the trustees, but we'll also make sure we add that to the public materials folder for the public as well. Lehua, anyone else signed up to testify on 2516?
There's no one else signed up to speak on that item.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. What? Oh, Trustee Aquino?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I do have some questions regarding the meaning of procedural acceptance with regard to this matter. And I'm just wondering whether it is better for me to ask these questions here in open session, or if we should defer this to our executive session and deal with the matter after.
You can take it in an executive session.
Okay.
Okay, no further testimony? Okay. Anyone signed up to speak on the next agenda item? They're both fairly similar, so this would be item number C. This would be the presentation of the process for the 2025 performance evaluation. Anyone from the public signed up to speak on that?
Shouldn't we take action on this?
No, we're going to hold off on recognizing Chair Souza for the motion because we need to go into executive session to talk about things we need to talk about, and then we'll come back in and Chair Souza will make a motion on whatever we decide in exec session. You're welcome. Lehua, any testimony on item number C?
No testimony on 4C.
Okay. Well, then let's go into executive session. Can I get a motion to go into executive session? Any testimony on going into executive session?
Yes, you do have someone signed up.
Okay, all right. Before we do that, can we get unanimous consent to take the agenda out of order? Well, once we take public testimony in exec session, we will go into exec session. You guys go okay with that? Okay, great. All right, let's do public testimony on the executive session.
Okay, for executive session, item 5C, we have Jermaine Myers.
Okay. Welcome, Jermaine. Aloha.
Aloha, honorable trustees. In regards to the action item on Stacy Ferreira's, Pouhana Stacy Ferreira's lawsuit, my question to the board, or my concern to the board, is that it shows that it's a civil lawsuit, but is OHA's finances going to be involved, their insurance and the balance of the insurance going to be involved in paying for any kind of settlement? Or meaning that if each individual or certain individuals lose their portion of it for whatever reason, because it can be separated if there was more breach of trust from one individual versus others. So I'm just wondering if at any time the board is going to let the Lahui know in regards to this lawsuit, what is the impact on our funds, our trust funds? Because when it involves fiduciary role, I believe that if someone is also being removed into administrative leave and in addition to termination, if that should be the end result, then OHA would expect that person to suffer the consequences of it. So in addition to that, in the lawsuit, would any trustee or any staff breach the liability or incur the liability of it? Or is it going to be legal insurance going to take care of each trustee's financial role or financial consequences? I understand from following it in the court documents on the docket that OHA had asked to extend responding to each of her complaints. And so OHA has not yet provided and asked for an extension, which the court had allowed for that up until, I believe, the 17th. Could be off by a day or so of December. But now I see on the events of the court case that it shows that in January they're going to convene with the court. And so I understand that this is going to be a jury, which I'm just curious, and maybe I'll call the courthouse. If there is a jury convening, will it be an open convening session that members of the community can attend? So I'm just wondering about that, because there was over 60 items listed, so each one would be going over those things. I did hear that gentleman's testimony, and if it involved finances, whether you work for someplace 10 or 20 years, when there's financial consequences, that could actually, but I understand from what he said that it was corrected, but he never explained the value amount or what it was. So it's very confusing what he's trying to allege of his termination. So I believe that when Corey gets involved, he understands state laws, federal laws regarding labor laws. So it's a team kako effort. Everybody has their own mana'o. So I'm kind of interested in seeing how the trustees understand that every one of you got your own mana'o, your own knowledge of different parts of humanity and industries, and no different than you're not going to find one person packaged up with knowledge of everything. So I know HR and I know accounting, but the person next to me may not know not one stitch of basic accounting or basic HR. But because that was part of the industry, and I worked for a bank that had 1,800 employees, and it was in the benefits, I understand everything from workman's comp, ADA, ADAAA, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm presuming when HR gets involved, there is something related to that issue. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention for full transparency. Kia kua pu, God bless all of you.
Thank you, Jermaine. Lehua, anyone else signed up to speak on item 5 on our agenda, the executive session? Okay, and we have unanimous consent to take the agenda item out of order. So can we get a motion to go into exec session? Yep. We did. Discussions? Roll call.
Trustee Ahuna? Trustee Akaka?
Aye.
Trustee Akina? Trustee Alapa? Trustee Lindsay? Trustee Galuteria? Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Wahehe.
Yes.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes. We will be moving into executive session.
Okay, we'll set up the room for exec session. Okay, we'd like to reconvene the meeting of the Board of Trustees for December 4th, 2025. I'd like to report out that in the executive session, the board approved the executive session meeting minutes from November 24th, 2025. Additionally, the board received updated information and consulted with its legal counsel with respect to the 2024 performance evaluation of the OHA Pouhana Administrator in matters relating to Stacy Kealohalani Ferreira versus OHA, civil number 1250001-822. No decision-making on any voting took place. We're going to continue now with our agenda, and the chair would like to now recognize Trustee Souza for a motion on action item BOT 2516.
Well, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to approve action item BOT number 25-16, and this is the acceptance of the 2024 performance evaluation of the OHA Pouhana Administrator Stacy K. Ferreira as amended by the board.
Trustees, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yeah, whenever you're sorry. Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
Can I please have the motion read again?
Yes, Trustee Akaka. I'd like to move to approve action item BOT number 25-16. And this is for the acceptance of the 2024 performance evaluation of the OHA Pouhana Administrator, Stacy K. Ferreira, as amended by the board.
Aye.
Mahalo. Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteri has left the meeting. Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay. Aye. Trustee Waihe'e. Oh, he's not here. Chair Kahele.
Abstain.
We have one abstention and we have 6 yes votes.
Okay, Chair, Trustee Souza, let's go to item C on the agenda. And Chair, Trustee Souza is recognized.
Well, Mr. Chair, yeah, this next item on the agenda, item C, we're going to have a presentation on the process for the 2025 performance evaluation of OHA Pouhana Administrator Stacy K. Ferreira. And at this time, I want to call upon Anna Sneed to walk us through the process. Mahalo.
Good morning, trustees.
Morning.
The process for the 2025 CEO performance evaluation will be similar to the process we did for 2024. You will receive a memo from Trustee or Vice Chair Souza with the instruction memo. There will be a blank performance evaluation form for 2025, which you can complete on your own. If you need assistance, if you can do it on your own, fine. If you need assistance or you would like someone to help you answer questions and understand the focus of the evaluation, you will be able to call Kathy Chin, our outside consultant who's helping to prepare the performance evaluation. Kathy will work with you. Once all of you have completed the forms, Kathy will consolidate it into a single performance evaluation, a copy of which will go to CEO Ferreira to review, to give her comments, and then you will once again get to review her comments with the composite and decide if you want to make adjustments before finalizing 2025. So very similar to what we're doing now.
Mahalo, Anna. And then before we move on, I just want to make sure, Mr. Chair, there's no testifiers on this item.
There are no testifiers for this item.
Mahalo, Lehua. Thank you so much. Trustees, any questions? Trustee Aquino.
Thank you. Anna, it was very helpful to me as a trustee in completing my evaluation to be able to refer to the self-assessment that we invited the CEO to provide. Will that invitation be extended to Stacy Ferreira for the 2025 evaluation so that we can use that in our individual evaluations as trustees?
If I may respond, Anna, Trustee Aquino, I don't believe we solicited a report or self-evaluation, but however, that was provided for Stacy Ferreira's first year evaluation by Stacy Ferreira herself.
I do believe that at least some of us requested that she be given that opportunity. And I'd like to make that same request, that Ferreira be allowed to provide us a self-assessment following the format and questions of the evaluation so that we can factor that into our individual evaluations.
Would that need to be a board action? Or is that part of the process? I don't know, maybe you can clarify.
It's the way the process works, and I forgive me for omitting it. When you, in chapter 92, when the evaluation is finalized and provided to the state employee, what happens is they get to comment on their own evaluation after you finalize. And so you take all of those comments and they are attached as part of the packet. So it's, rather than on the front end, it's on the back end. And so for 2024, she will be able to attach whatever she wishes to do that. And in 2025, once you complete and we have the composite, she gets to attach it at the end. So, same thing.
Yes. Mahalo Ana for clarification. Trustees, any other questions? Trustee Aquino, follow up.
I just wanted to state that there's a difference in terms of the value of each of those ways of responding. I certainly appreciate our allowing the CEO to respond after we have evaluated her, but I'm talking about her providing her own self-assessment as part of the dialogue between us, even if in writing. There's a lot that went on during that year, and we're behind. She can provide information as to what her activities were, what her objectives and goals were, as well as her successes and her areas needed for improvement. That will help me to be able to make a better evaluation. And since it was done in 2024, I would assume that we have a capacity for that, even if it's just in writing.
Mahalo, Trustee Aquino, if I may respond to that. I understand that it was done in 2024. However, this board did not take a vote or solicit that. The process has been, it is on the back end, and she will have an opportunity, correct, Anna, to provide a response as she did in regards to the 2024 evaluation?
Yeah, that will happen. So.
And I guess per her contract, are we required to have her provide something on the front end?
Yeah, your contract does not require her to provide for a self-assessment.
But the trustees are asking.
There are certain trustees who are asking for it, so my question would be, we would have to agendize potentially something like that because it's not part of the normal process. And it is also, would it be an amendment to her contract, potentially?
She can say no.
I'm going to defer to Anna to respond to that.
If you wanted to give her a contractual right to give that, you would have to amend her contract. If you wanted to just say, you can give us whatever you want, like she did in 2024. I will point out her 2024 submission had the stuff in 2025. So if you want to give her another opportunity, I'm sure she will provide more. And then if you need to read that, it will lengthen out your evaluation process. So it's not our decision, it's your evaluation process. But that will give her twice, yeah, at the front and the back end.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Your microphone?
I'm really, in my case, I can't remember everything that Stacy did. And when I read her report on the first year, I said, oh yeah, she did that. Oh yeah. I mean, you know, it triggered my memory as far as evaluating on the things that she said she did. But our 2025 has been so busy that when I look back, I can't remember except for the trauma that we've had. So I don't know, I don't know if I have enough in my head to evaluate her. And of course, I'm not the chair anymore, so 24 was much easier for me. I'm speaking for myself.
And I guess I did defer to you and maybe Everett as well, because I know we're discussing the 2025 evaluations. However, this is not part of our contract, and this is not part of the process that we are discussing today. So how do we continue doing it properly to address this? Maybe Everett can come up, because I don't want to proceed going down this road with this conversation in regards to sunshine law and other potential violations if we continue to deliberate on this issue. Everett?
Thank you, Trustee Souza, and good afternoon, trustees. I think this is still a permissible discussion under this topic, in as much as it's still related to the 2025 performance evaluation as listed on the agenda and the process for that. I think it's more, how the board does, I think per Anna's advice, how the board wants to incorporate any of these things. It's not a contractual requirement, and it is something that's provided for. It is just going to, extend the time and, the things that need to be incorporated into the final evaluation.
If I can suggest, because I just know the amount of paper that you guys already have, and it'll be confusing, because I think her submission went through June or July of 2025. So if you look, she has dates in it, in her last submission. If you want to get additional information on accomplishments that she did, then I would say to ask just to supplement from the end of that first submission up to the point that she went on personal leave. And that's, what is that? August, September? Yeah, 3 months worth. Yeah. And so that, because then you, yeah. So it won't be confusing.
Why don't everyone start, just review what she already submitted? Make that your starting point. She's already done that. And then if there's a supplemental period that you need, we could request those dates that are not included. Which you're saying is starting in July?
I think that's when her submission ended.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then,
That was all in the accomplishments up to that point. Yeah.
and while that's happening, you can start to proceed with the evaluation process.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay.
Trustee Lapo, does that answer your question? Okay. Trustee Uno.
Okay,
Okay.
sweet.
Any more discussion, trustees? If not, thank you so much, Anna, for being here. Appreciate it. All right. Well, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, last item on our agenda is the final report of the Investigative Permitted Interaction Group. There's no discussion or any decision-making today, just a report for all of you to read. Lehua, do you have anyone sign up to speak on this agenda item? Okay. So,
No, there is no.
oh, there is?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Jermaine, you
Yes,
wanna-
Jermaine
Yeah, please.
Calamine. Where?
Welcome, Jermaine.
Mahalo. Aloha, honorable trustees. My name is Jermaine Myers, and I'm an OHA beneficiary. I reviewed the PIGS report, specifically the section titled Engagement with State Officials, Governor DLNR. The report notes that the PIG engaged with 1, Governor Josh Green, Senior Advisor on Military Lease Lands, and 2, DLNR Director and BLNR Chair Don Chang. The report identified 5 key messages delivered by OHA to the governor's advisor and Chair Chang. OHA requires a mandatory seat in all negotiations. All land swap concepts must be fully transparent. Ceded land appraisals must follow public land trust standards. Negotiations must not occur unilaterally, and community consultation must drive decisions. I want to highlight 3 of these key messages to the governor's advisor and to Chair Chang. Number 1, OHA requires a mandatory seat in all negotiations. My concern is, did the governor or Chair Chang commit to OHA having a mandatory seat at all negotiations? I recall another section of the report titled Outreach to Congress and the Governor. Chair Kahele transmitted major correspondence to the following: congressional leadership regarding support for Section 2831 in the NDAA, and Governor Josh Green urging lawful negotiation processes and formal inclusion of OHA in the Joint Negotiation Team and Technical Working Group. Clarity on Governor's response to Chair Kahele's correspondence is very critical. Number 2, ceded land appraisals must follow public land trust standards. If OHA were to pursue a global settlement, as was being privately discussed earlier this year by Chair Kahele without board approval during the 2025 legislative session, would accepting a monetary payout relinquish OHA's right to remain at the table regarding future ceded lands public land trust matters? Community consultation must drive decisions. I am grateful to see this principle stated clearly. It was the Lahui, the people, who showed up at the BLNR meeting earlier this year and successfully protested the approval of the FEIS, ultimately influencing the board's decision to deny it. Many of my friends testified at the hearing. Senator Favela and Senator DeCourt attended in person and testified. My friend Kopua even brought her 1-year-old mo'opuna to provide testimony. That moment demonstrated the power, commitment, and generational responsibility of our people, the Lahui. Of the entire report, it's the responses of these specific 3 key components that matter most. OHA requires a mandatory seat in all negotiations. Ceded land appraisals must follow public land trust standards. Community consultation must drive decisions. I look forward with hope that no lease extension and no lease renewal will remain the final outcome in 2029, reflecting the will of the Lahui and the Kuleana entrusted to OHA. Ke kuapu, God bless all of you.
Was there anyone else signed up to speak?
There's no one else.
Okay, since my name was mentioned in that previous testimony, for the record, because that testimony is untrue, inaccurate, the chair did not have any private negotiations without board approval for a global settlement, and I will go on record saying that I do not support a global settlement, ever, for the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Okay, moving on. Anyone signed up for community concerns or celebrations?
Yes, we have 2 speakers, one in person, Jermaine Myers, and then we have one person virtually, former trustee Mililani Trask.
Okay, let's take Trustee Trask virtually.
Okay.
Aloha. Mililani, can you hear us?
Unmute. Trustees, can you hear me?
Yes,
Aloha.
we can hear you clearly.
Aloha, trustees. Good to see some of you. Merry Christmas. The reason why I came on is because I have some critical things I want to review with you now because I am no longer a trustee. But some of these matters arose when I was, and frankly, seeing the lawsuits now arising with Zuri and others, I wanted to make the public record. I want to inform the trustees of concerns that I had, but never had the opportunity to bring to the board because my term ended. The first, and I'm going to go over three things with you now. The first is a matter of the filing of false testimony to the state legislature that occurred this past year. I learned about it because beneficiaries on the Big Island were in a rage and asked for a meeting with me. When I went to meet with them, they gave me two testimonies from OHA, and they asked why the trustees had supported it. I hadn't seen the testimonies. Both testimonies were strongly in support of rehiring the Board of Regent, Mr. Alapaki Naholi'a. I told them that the Office of Hawaiian Affairs trustees did not vote on that matter and that over 100 hours had been spent looking at legislation, and I had attended personally every single meeting, and we did not vote on that. However, when I checked, I met with the beneficiaries and they came to meet me and gave me the testimonies in my hand. When I saw it, I was shocked. One was on the letterhead of OHA, praising Alapaki Nahalea, but unsigned. And that testimony was filed in behalf of the Board of Trustees. I never saw it. The second testimony came from Stacy, and that was signed. Both praised Alapaki. I called Stacy and I told her, how did this testimony get filed without the board approving it? And she told me that there's never been a rule that OHA trustees couldn't testify individually, which is correct. That is correct. But you don't file it in behalf of the office on our letterhead without saying that. I did check with Donna Kim, and she confirmed that this had been submitted to her committee, and she did not know who had signed it. When I spoke with Stacy, she told me that she had signed it and sent it in for her good friend, and that the chair of the board had approved it without signature or vote of the board, and that Mr. Nahalea was in fact the cousin of the chair of our board. I had no idea when that occurred, and I wanted to be on the public record. I'm extremely concerned, trustees, that all the work we did on the strategic plan for our people has been thrown out. Now, for years, we had the PIA. We worked on it. We had good progress. I'm talking about the Mauliola plan. For those of you that are trying to follow the Mauliola plan, we worked on it. We were getting forward. We were consistent. We had good services from the Hosteller group. And then I find out that all of that work was discarded. And I looked on the record and I could not find any vote of this board doing that, trustees. And when I went back and asked Casey, he tells me that that entire approach was thrown out by the executive decision and that a new PIA was created. I did not approve it as a trustee and I cannot find it in the record, but it appears to be accurate. The old PIA and our contract is gone, and instead Stacy created a new PIA for the same purpose. When I talked with Casey, I said, who's running this? He said, well, we have a whole new team we brought in, mostly from Kamehameha. I said, Casey, what are you doing? Kamehameha is a private corporation. We are a state agency. We cannot function in that way. We cannot function in that way. He told me that under the new PIA, the Board of Trustees were excluded. And all decisions are now made by Stacy and a new group that she put together for the advisory of our agency. I did not know that. When I talked with Stacy, who left the office following this, he showed me a list of people, over a dozen people that were the new strategic advisors. And I looked at the list. I said, these people, a lot of them are from Kamehameha. I know them. I told him Kamehameha is not a state agency. But when I looked at the list, this is not a list of people who should be advising us because OHA is a state agency. Kamehameha Schools is not. I was not aware that a dozen new positions had been created at OHA for this purpose. No one informed me. And when I checked the record, trustees, it never came on the public agenda. How were a dozen people hired by OHA to do a new strategic plan at $100,000 per person? $100,000 for an advisory committee created primarily with members from Kamehameha Schools. Their background does not relate to the obligations of the state agency. And that was when Stacy was brought in because her entire background is private sector education nonprofit. That is the same now for the majority of the people that we have put on this S&I committee.
Mahalo nui loa. Thank you for your testimony. Do I have someone else?
Yes, our second speaker, Jermaine Myers.
I don't think she could hear us. Yes, thank you. We have to go on to the next testifier now. Welcome, Jermaine.
Mahalo.
Community concerns.
Thank you. Aloha, Honorable Trustees. My name is Jermaine Myers, and I am an OHA beneficiary. I will email all of the trustees the Global Settlement Bill and the videos of each hearings in the Senate where it started and in the House. The bill eventually went to conference committee where I'm grateful that Senator Richards stopped it. Hawaii is an at-will employment state, meaning an employer can terminate an employee at any time for any reason, and an employee can quit at any time for any reason. Termination without cause. In most cases, an employer does not need a reason to fire an employee, and an employee does not need a reason to quit. There are exceptions to at-will employment contracts, a specific employment contract that requires a reason for termination or a different process. All OHA employees don't have an employment contract. However, Pouhana Ferreira has an employment contract, which was in the packet of an earlier board meeting this year. I missed yesterday's BAE community concerns, so I share them now. Legislative 2025 in review. Kaka'ako Makai workforce housing legislation. A community presentation was held by Chair Kahele and Vice Chair Souza on January 8 from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Ho'okupu Center at Kewalo Basin. I attended. Most in attendance were the Friends of Kewalo, who's been opposing for years OHA building any towers for housing on its Kaka'ako lands. I listened to the presentation and participated in the discussions by expressing my beneficiary support as a beneficiary. Then a bill was introduced to the 2025 legislature Rarely is a bill heard in 3 committees at the same time. I attended the tri-committee hearing in the basement auditorium of the state capitol. I was very hopeful after the OHA investiture of the new leadership of the board. However, I became deeply disappointed at the tri-committee hearing. Chair Kahele repeated his presentation to the tri-committee members, senators only. Then HCDA's executive director gave their presentation since they oversee the development of all Kaka'ako, and Makai lands. After his presentation, the senators, members of the 3 committees had the opportunity to ask OHA or HCDA their questions regarding OHA's plans before they would take any public testimony. Unfortunately, Chair Kahele left the hearing sometime before HCDA completed its presentation. And from the very first question to OHA, Pouhana and Chief Advocate Lena Ala had to repeatedly respond to the senators, which is on video. I'm sorry, senators, we'll get back to you. Unfortunately, Chair Kahele did not tell the senators, Senator Inoue Chang or Richards, after he completed his presentation, that was going to leave after his presentation. Transfer ownership of Mauna Ala. The Hawaiian Committee, chaired by Senator Richards, asked OHA to meet with beneficiaries before it comes back to Legislature 2026. So my question is, have OHA met with the beneficiaries? Because that was one of his conditions, so that their mana'o can be shared back to OHA, and that OHA can take those things into consideration before they report back to the legislature, asking to take ownership of Mauna Ala, taking into consideration the feedback from the beneficiaries. There are many other legislative outstanding items that I'm concerned about, but unfortunately I didn't have time to put them together. Ke akua pu, God bless all of you.
Lehua, anyone else signed up for community concerns and celebrations?
There's no one else signed up.
Okay, we're on to announcements. Trustees, any announcements?
Yes, I do.
Trustee Akaka.
Mahalo. Regarding December 9th and the 11th, we're going to have site visits and Oahu Island community meetings, the 2nd and 3rd of 3. And on December 9th, Tuesday at 12 p.m., we'll have a site visit at the Hawaii State Archives, Kekau Uluohi Building, Iolani Palace grounds. And then at 2 p.m., we will be at the King Kamehameha V Judiciary History Center, Ali'iolani Hale, for that site visit. And then that evening, December 9th, Tuesday at 6 p.m., we'll have the Oahu Island Community Meeting at Prince David Kawananakua Middle School. And that will be viewable on oha.org/livestream, as well as on the channel, Olelo Community Media Channel 55. And then on the December 11th at 2:30 p.m., that Thursday, we'll be at Pahua Heiau for a site visit. And later that evening at 6 p.m., we'll be at Waimanalo Hawaiian Homes Association Halau. And that will be viewable via the live stream of oha.org, as well as channel 53 of Olelo Community Media. And that would be our 3rd Oahu Island community meeting. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Akaka. Looking forward to those upcoming engagements on Oahu. We have several announcements. The first for our staff is that our Alaka'i Awards are due this Friday, next Friday, December 12th. So for the next quarter employee and supervisor, please submit your Alaka'i Awards for them by close of business next Friday, December 12th. Those will be named along with our annual Outstanding Alaka'i Award winners on December 19th. We have an OHA Workday is coming up on Monday, December 8th, and I encourage all the trustees, if we're available to attend, to go to Waimea Falls Park, one of our OHA properties, to participate in our OHA Workday. It's going to start at 8:30 in the morning and will be in Waimea Valley. And for those that follow the surfing world, the Eddie Aikau is, this is the season, right, for that. And there is a chance that big waves and the Eddie may be happening. And so as you all know, that drive on the North Shore out to Waimea Bay can be very, very busy. So please plan accordingly. December 17th at about 6 o'clock in the afternoon in Maili will be the second community presentation on our military lease lands, as well as our community listening session. This will be held in Maili at the Kamehameha Schools Community Resource Center. And so we encourage everyone, not in Oahu, especially on the Waianae Coast, to attend our second military lease lands community hearing and listening session. And I will say for the over 100 that came out on the eve of Thanksgiving last Wednesday, as well as our hardworking staff and Olelo who live streamed it, it was very, very good. And a lot of information and a lot of good feedback from the community. So that'll be on December 17th, Wednesday. And we're all invited to attend that as well. The OHA Staff Development Day, the last one of 2025, will be on Friday, December 19th at Kualoa. And OHA staff members should have received details on that yesterday from our board secretary. And our next meeting and the final meeting of 2025 for the Board of Trustees will be following our Standing Committee Day on the 17th. And the board will convene on December 18th, Thursday, for our last meeting of the year before we adjourn for the holidays. Any other announcements by trustees? Okay, I just want to end on this, one note. Today's December 4th, 2025, and exactly 1 year ago today, I had the honor of being named the chairperson of the Board of Trustees of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. I want to extend my deepest mahalo to all of you, the trustees, that I get this unique opportunity to serve with, along with the almost and over 130 staff members of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs that do the hard work for our lahui every day. It's with the deepest mahalo that I want to convey to all of you. It's been an honor. It has been a challenge, but I'm extremely grateful for your trust, for your candor and your willingness, to allow me to lean into, and all of us to lean into, a very, very tough job. This work is not easy. Change is not easy, but I really believe that together we have taken on difficult issues over this last year. We make bold decisions, and we have moved OHA forward in incredibly meaningful ways for our lahui, and I'm sure we will continue to do so over the next year. So thank you for your commitment and for your courage and the aloha that all of us bring to this table, and I look forward to serving as your chair at least for another year until next November, when this board will get a chance to elect a new leadership team to lead the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. I just want to end on that note.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thanks, Trustee Aquino. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Discussion? Roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna? Trustee Akaka?
Aye.
Trustee Akina?
Aye.
Trustee Alapa?
Yes.
Trustee Lindsay? Aye. Trustee Souza?
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e?
Yes.
Chair Kahele?
Aye.
You have 8 yes votes. We are adjourned.